Hey everyone, welcome to Time for the Maker. I decided to do a short and sweet episode reciting something that I wrote. I do write poetry. Not a lot of people get to read it because I haven't released much of it ever. A lot of it turns into songs. I just have it in my phone. I know other writers will agree. We just have journals and journals stacked of poetry. But I wrote a poem a few weeks ago, and in the beginning of November 2024, we're going through massive transformation, as I know I'm not alone in understanding in our country at this time in America. And I read this poem to some friends, and then I read it to a crowd before I sang up in Ojai, and it just felt like maybe something I should share. So I decided, you know what? I got a new painting. I got a new poem. We got a nice little in-between episodes before we take on another guest who will be here very soon. So I'd like to recite this to you. Divide and conquer, lost all honor. Villainize your neighbor, brainwashed by the big media maker. Us versus them, black and white. It's not that simple. It's not that simple in this human life. Yes, there is right and yes, there is wrong, but understanding is key. Usually the villain is much larger than one can see. The greed and the money in big matrix-like systems controls your emotions and plants your visions. To be removed from the pack and to see from all sides, that, my friends, is where true peace resides. Until you are unhooked from the big media game, you'll understand where the darkest players are to blame. Until all truths have been uncovered, love each other through this radical, spiritless weather. I am an American tried and true, red, white, and blue. And I agree to disagree. I will always do the best I can do. We are one in this fast evolving machine. Our country is like a stage, so let's bring back the dream. No matter what happens in this political scheme, I got my neighbor's freedom song, and sing. Prayers for us all to think for ourselves. Prayers for us all to think for ourselves. Say goodbye to hive mind and let's have good stories for future generations to tell. Freedom song and sing. Be the freedom that rings. Thank you for listening to that poem. I want to take this time to just reiterate that where that came from and how I'm perceiving things at this time in my life and at this time on the planet and in this country. I wrote a song called Uncertain Times, and I wrote it years ago and released it, and it still rings true. And one of the tags, and you'll listen to it at the end of the podcast, but please keep peace in mind in these uncertain times. And that's rings true now, as in we will always have uncertain times. The only certainty that we have is uncertainty. The only constant is change. It doesn't mean that the systems around us and what is happening outside of us are not of concern and need to be focused on, and we need to rally and make change happen in those systems, i.e. the political system, i.e. all these other systems that exist. However, the most impactful thing that you can do and that I can do, the most impactful thing that I can be is living in purpose. And it is hard to live in purpose and to be connected to community and be in alignment with your gifts when you are so inundated with the fear machine. When the narrative of fear is just eating away at you, it is so hard to have energy. And I know because I got eaten away by it too. And we've had a really rough several years. We had a global pandemic, and the pandemic still affects people. And I've had my journey, and yes, it's been really hard. But if I feed into the fear, if I feed into that monster, I don't have anything igniting me within and nothing helping me move forward. Forward motion is what keeps this going. You and I, me and your neighbor, like your farmers, your just these communities of people, we make the biggest difference. My mother always said, think globally, act locally. Do not give away your power, your sovereign, innate power to the systems that be. Do your best and then get back in your lane. And your lane and my lane is to do the best that we can for each other collectively. So that's what this is about. It's just a reminder from me to you, a call to arms on this planet, in this life, to know that we can still create the future that we dream. We have the ability to shift where it's going, but it's hard to shift and move that needle when we're stuck in fear. And the whole purpose is to remind you of that and me. That's why I'm here. I'm here to remind it for myself that I still have this conscious sovereign power to make a difference. It's so important for us to live in purpose. Take care of yourself, rest, enjoy your life, still have joy no matter what. You know, this planet has seen a lot of crazy stuff. We've only been here for a blip, and it's always had war, famine, and destruction. And it's not saying that it's not important and these things need to change. Of course, we're working hard for it to change. The difference now is that we have the phones, and the phones expose us to everything horrific all the time. How can we live like this? We need to consciously expose ourselves and absorb good information, positive information, community, love, creativity, inspiration. All these things need to be a diligent effort on our behalf to keep us going forward so we can change the future. It's time. It's time right now. It's time for the maker.